The future doesn't belong to the loudest voice. It belongs to a person willing to take responsibility for the room. Leadership isn't about control. It's about service. It's about lifting others higher than yourself. And in a world that desperately needs stronger examples, the real question is, who's ready to lead? Hi, I'm Kealan Hughes.
And I'm Christopher Matulis, your host for Leaders of Lancaster. On today's show, we'll sit down with the man tasked with steering the ship for the Lancaster County School District. We'll find out a little more about his background and life before coming to Lancaster County, as well as what makes him a leader.
Finally, we'll analyze his leadership approach and unpack the challenges of managing teams made of diverse experiences, cultures, and perspectives. We'll have all of this and more on today's episode of Leaders of Lancaster.
Do you want to be a filmmaker? Do you dream of being the next Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, or David Fincher? Is filmmaking or television your future? Then why wait until college? It's time to get a 4-year head start on your film school competition. At Learn TV, you don't just watch films, you make them. You'll conceptualize, write, produce, shoot, edit, using real industry tools. From day one, you'll get hands-on with Premiere Pro, Blackmagic Design, Sling Studio, and professional-grade cameras and production gear. No toy equipment, no fake assignments. Real production, real deadlines, real skills. Learn from instructors with decades of real-world experience and a passion that matches your ambition. If you're destined for Tinseltown or Broadway, then ask your guidance counselor about media technology at Learn TV, a CTE class through the Career Center. Don't wait and get a jump start on your future today.
In school, we talk a lot about grades, sports, awards, and achievements. But the thing that will follow you long after graduation isn't your GPA, it's your character. It's not a position you apply for, it's a decision you make every single day, in the hallway, in the classroom, on the court, and online. Here to talk about his background and what life was like before coming to Lancaster is the Superintendent of the Lancaster County School District, Dr. Norris Williams. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Well, to start, I'm curious, can you tell our viewers who you are and what your job is within the Lancaster County School District?
Excellent. So I'm Dr. Norris Williams. I'm the Interim Superintendent here in Lancaster. Prior to being the interim, I was the Deputy Superintendent and handled many of the things that were not directly affiliated with academics. So on the operations side of all of the happenings of the district, special services, student services, facilities and maintenance, food services, safety and transportation, and all of our technology or departments that I work with.
Would you recommend this job to others?
I definitely would. If it's something that you like, if you love working with people and love making a difference, I would definitely suggest being an interim superintendent or superintendent.
Well, being the superintendent, what does your job entail? Like, what do you have to do for the Lancaster County School District?
So it's interesting. When I go into schools, particularly elementary schools, they'll say that I own all the schools. That's not true. I don't own the schools, but I do have an opportunity to work with every school, every student, parents, principals, leaders, teachers, counselors within the schools, coaches. I get a chance to attend many wonderful events that are hosted and sponsored by our students and really guide the school district on the right trajectory, continuing on that right trajectory with everything academics, the arts, athletics, and all activities.
Were you born and raised in South Carolina or any other part of the U.S.?
Yes, I am a South Carolinian. So I was born in Sumter, South Carolina, which is not far from here, and had a wonderful time in Sumter after graduating from Maywood High School in 1995. Sounds like such a long time ago. I attended South Carolina State University and majored in elementary education and had a great time at South Carolina State as well.
Well, back when you were in high school, was this what you wanted to do? Did you want to be a superintendent like when you were growing up?
I couldn't say that I wanted to be a superintendent at that time. Mm-hmm. I knew that I wanted to work in education, mm-hmm. and I knew I wanted to make a difference in the lives of students and families. And so I started out as a teacher. I was a math and science teacher in middle school, and I also spent some time working with elementary students as well. Started gaining an interest in administration, so I became an assistant principal, principal, and then moved up the ladder.
Okay.
When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up and why?
I wanted to be a doctor, right? And so, but I wanted to be a medical doctor. Now I'm a doctor of education, but I wanted to be a medical doctor. And I think one of the reasons I'm so passionate now about making sure that students understand their avenues is because I really didn't. I didn't understand everything that it would take to become a physician. And so the journey towards education was one that there were a lot of educators in my family, and I knew that being an educator would be a way for me to provide or pay for college through scholarship. So I took the route towards education, but initially I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Okay. Did you find this like love for learning at an early age and this love for teaching, or like did you struggle with like a sort of rough upbringing and like did you struggle with grades at all?
So that's a great question. The journey towards me being an educator, I'm the youngest of 6 children, but my siblings are 13 to 18 years older than me. So I didn't grow up as much with my siblings as I did with my nieces and nephews. My nieces and nephews and I are closer in age than my siblings and I. And so we had a chance I was always taking care of nieces and nephews. And I think that's what guided me into education. Additionally, my mother was a caregiver of students as well. So I was always around kids, and it helped. Now, I was a great kid in school. Great grades. I went to a small school, and so there was a lot of attention on us. And got along with teachers, got along with students, but I always also spoke my mind. So sometimes speaking your mind and standing up for what is right can create some challenges in school, but I was a great student.
Can you give an example of like you speaking your mind and standing up?
Sure. So I was always involved in student government, and occasionally we would have adults that did not give the respect that they wanted in return. And so I would say things about it. I would say things like, if you were to show more respect, then you would get more respect. But coming from a student, that can oftentimes be misunderstood. And so I was redirected, but it helped me focus on student government because I was a voice for several students within our school.
Other than a college degree, what type of qualifications are needed to work as a school administrator?
You have to have a great personality. The college degrees are wonderful, and there are those requirements that you have to have to meet state requirements, but you have to be an understander of people. You have to know that what may be important to someone should also be important to you, even if you're not as familiar with it. You have to treat people with respect and kindness. And I would also say that you have to be open-minded.
Okay.
So after college, what obviously fortunate turn of events led you to Lancaster County School District?
Excellent. Okay, so once again, I started out teaching. I stayed in one school district for 18 years. I was a teacher, assistant principal, coach within that district. And then you get to a point in your career where you want advancement. And so I began to take different opportunities. And so after leaving Rock Hill School District as a principal, I moved to Sumter, where I was an assistant superintendent. I went to Clover School District, where I was director of virtual schools and alternative schools. And then that led me to Lancaster to be the deputy superintendent.
What makes Lancaster special in a comparison to other school districts around the nation?
Lancaster is very special. It actually reminds me of home because it is a warm and loving community. There are individuals who work hard, and the resources here are amazing. There are 4, in my opinion, there are 4 distinct areas in Lancaster, very similar to my hometown, and each of those areas bring unique qualifications and unique specialties, but just good, hardworking people who are wanting to see the best for everyone that's here. And so that's one of the reasons I love Lancaster.
Well, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming since you said it was so familiar, was there any like hardships with adapting to being the Lancaster County superintendent? Like moving here?
No hardships. So I live very close to here. I live in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And so it's literally about 5 minutes away from the Lancaster County line, but no hardships. I love the travel. I learned traffic patterns, and so I kind of know where to go at what times to avoid major traffic. Like, for instance, when it's dismissal time at Lancaster High School, I'm typically not going to come down this road because there are a lot of individuals that are eager to go a lot of other places.
Yes.
But it's a really good transition here to Lancaster.
What has been your most fulfilling experience as your first year as a superintendent here in Lancaster?
One of the most fulfilling is the opportunity to meet students. There are over 15,400 students in Lancaster County School District. And every time I go into a school or I come to an event, I have a chance to meet individuals. And I'm not a shy person. And so when I come into a space, I'll introduce myself and just have conversations with students. And I'm finding so many unique qualities of our students that is really fun to learn about. And so it's my hope to meet all 15,400 students.
Wow. Well, if you could give yourself an honest score based upon this school year so far, what would you give yourself out of 10?
Out of 10? Wow. If I had to give myself a score out of 10, I would say right now I'm a strong 9.3. 9.3 right now. I still have some work to do, and there are a lot of great things that are going on, but I have goals for myself as well as goals for the district, and so soon I'll be a 10.
Can you enlighten us with some of these goals you have?
Well, honestly, sitting here today, listening to the interest of some of you, like I'm thinking about ideas. I'm a visionary. Mm-hmm. I love just seeing people excel. And so there are so many things that I think in talking with students here in the Lancaster County School District, we have wonderful opportunities to add new things, to kind of get out there and just challenge the communities. Let's see if we can have a skate park here, or let's see if we can, have a baking challenge with other individuals within the county that would spark that interest in other students. There may be a kindergartner right now who would love to do the same things that you guys are doing in high school, but they don't quite know how to get there. So I want to help out with that.
If you could go back in time and change everything or anything about your career or its path, what would it be and why?
I don't think I would change anything. I think that my career path, the steps have all happened for a very specific reason. And if anything changed, I may not be sitting here today talking with you. And so I'm very appreciative of my career path. I think that the steps I've been ordered to take have guided me in a positive trajectory. So I'm very pleased with it.
Well, I'm going to ask you to hold these thoughts for a little bit. We're going to go to break and we'll be right back in the next segment. That's all the time we have for this segment, but don't touch that dial. There's still much more Leaders of Lancaster after the break.
Are you a die-hard sports fan? NFL, NBA, Premier League, college athletics.
Rooney! Oh, wonderful! What a goal!
Ever dreamed of being a sports broadcaster, calling real games live in front of thousands?
Bryant for the win! Bang!
Then you need to enroll in media technology with Learn TV before it's too late. Get right in the action, up close, live, no sidelines, learn in a fast-paced, high-intensity field from instructors with 75-plus years of real industry experience.
Floats it in and one!
If a career in sports or broadcasting is your goal, ask your guidance counselor about media technology at Learn TV, a CTE class through the Career Center. Don't wait, get a jump start on your future today. And oh yeah, you can get paid too.
Sometimes this all feels pointless. Why am I even here? This is where it starts. This is where it happened. Excuses are for yesterday. Your future is now.
Leadership isn't tested when things are easy. It's tested when they start to fall apart. When the pressure hits and others choose the easy way out, that's when real leaders are revealed. Not by what they say, but by what they do. Here again to look at what it means to be an effective leader is the Superintendent of Lancaster County School District, Dr. Norris Williams. Thank you for being back on our show.
Thank you.
Who do you look up to for their leadership qualities and why?
So I have several mentors across the nation that I can call for advice, or we share text groups or professional journals that will be suggested to read. So a number of my mentors, like for instance, Dr. Al Leonard is one of my mentors. He is a retired educator here in South Carolina. But I also have Dr. Goree, who is one of my mentors in the state of Texas. And he runs a school district very similar to ours, but we exchange advice all the time. And I would also say that Dr. Mark Bedell, he's in Anne Arundel School District, Public School District in Maryland, is another mentor that I have that I know I can call and say, hey, here's one of our ideas. Can you give me any suggestions or any tips or maybe an article that I could read? So those three gentlemen have been true catalysts in helping me to become a more effective leader.
So national, so this is like a really connected profession.
It is. There are individuals that across the country, and even some international leaders that I know I can call or send an email to and get advice from in just a moment's notice.
Okay. Well, what's the hardest part about leading a school district?
The hardest part about leading a school district is that I may be held accountable for a decision that I didn't make. Everyone has a choice, or everyone has choices to make every day, both in school and outside of the parameters of school. And most days we have thousands of students who make absolutely wonderful choices. But there are times where students and or adults make choices that aren't in the best interest of us collectively as a district. And even though I didn't make the choice individually, sometimes I can be questioned about the choice, or I can be held accountable for a choice that I had no idea of that was going to even happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give advice to young people who are looking to get involved in leadership roles, what would it be?
I would say find your passion. Find those things that make you happy, and find those things that may challenge you just a little bit to make you an even better individual, and then learn to lead within that group. Because oftentimes when you learn to lead when you're enjoying it, it can help you be a better leader when there are times that may be more challenging.
Well, how do you balance long-term visions with immediate necessary actions for current?
I surround myself with great people. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a visionary and I have wonderful ideas. You know, it's gotten to the point now where I will use my phone to, you know, if I have a thought, I may say, you know, hey, Siri, write down this thought while I, you know, have a chance to finish this activity I'm currently working on. Then I'll go back to those thoughts. And so I surround myself with great people, but I'm also a realist. Like I know that That was my Siri. I apologize. I know that there are opportunities that are great that I may not have all the knowledge of, and so I seek that advice from others.
When you hit
Thank you, Siri.
Of course.
when you hit a wall, either mentally, emotionally, or physically, how do you reset yourself so you can come back fresh and ready for success?
When I hit a wall, you know, I am so optimistic. And I think I've learned that optimism through having challenges, you know, just growing up, right? Becoming a man. And so in that optimism, I realized that every challenge gives me another chance to come back even bigger, even better, and have a greater idea. And so I look at challenges not necessarily as a stumbling block, but as an opportunity to reset.
So what would you say your biggest challenge was getting here?
The biggest challenge here is coming into a community that is on such a positive trajectory and keeping that. When you're achieving excellence, maintaining a certain level of excellence can be one of the most challenging things to do. And so that's one of the reasons I love being in schools. I want to be involved. I want to get out and meet students and us to interact, because it's not just my vision, it's everyone's. And every one of our students, every one of our parents, every one of our teachers has a part in that. And so I want to make sure that we're all moving towards that positive trajectory together.
How important is feedback when it comes to managing coworkers and employees, and how do you ensure you're hearing honest feedback from those who might potentially disagree with you?
Feedback is important, and I want to be honest with you. So I lead, the way that I lead, I'm very democratic in that process, in meaning I want everyone to have a part in a say-so. So when we're meeting, you know, if even down to what's the time that's most convenient, I want collective feedback from individuals. And although we may not be able to cater to an individual need, everyone has an opportunity to at least provide feedback. There are times when feedback is really beneficial. I need it so that I can grow. And then I'm human. There are certain times when the feedback is not necessarily what I want to hear, but it can still be beneficial in future efforts.
Okay. So you say yourself you're a visionary. So can you ever identify or develop future leaders of Lancaster?
That's a wonderful question. I think that, if I could, I really would have a group of individuals that just almost like a Shark Tank, where we take these ideas that are just going in individuals' heads and put them into practice, make it real. One way that we're developing leaders now is I have a chance to work with student representatives from every high school with the Inter High School Council, and they bring such amazing ideas about their school or the next steps for them. So I want to expand that, because prior to January, I was just organizing it. Now, as the interim superintendent, I get to lead it. So it's now time for us to have another session together where instead of being the background guy, I'm the main guy, and listen to their ideas and then expand our Inter High School Council so that we have a student voice from every school and every campus.
What's the difference between managing and leading people, and which is more difficult to do properly?
Managing or leading? So I listen at that question, and number one, I make sure that everyone is aware of the expectations. Everyone knows what their jobs are or what the tasks are. And from there, I trust individuals to lead. I trust individuals to do their job. If someone needs more assistance, I'm there to provide that assistance. But if they're fine, they're good, then I'm fine. I am not a status quo leader, though. I don't, traditional things, sometimes I struggle with. The full day of school. There's some students that they need that, 8:30 in the morning until 4 o'clock. There are other students that could benefit from a very alternate school schedule. They could go to school 2 days a week, 3 days a week. They could go to school from 9 to 12 and then go to a job. I'm all for those opportunities, though. I really think that we can't take a model that is holistic and apply it to everyone in today's society, because everyone is bringing something different to the table. So I want to hear about those differences. If it would be more beneficial for students to gain everything that they need in a shorter period of time, I think we need to discuss it.
So you think it should be made for individuality versus the collective?
I really do. I really do think that the world that we live in now is very individual. And sometimes school has not caught up with that. But then we have regulations on the state level, on the federal level, in pertaining to school that we also have to follow. So sometimes regulations can conflict with my mindset of being individual, but I also think that there's some level of compromise as well. And I think we're doing a great job at some of that compromise now. Like, we have students that aren't on full days. Some students come to school for a certain period of time once they've earned a number of credits, and then they are flexible to do other things, whether that is career center or a job or early dismissal. So we have some of those things now, but I think there's still some room for growth.
And you think we'll be able to do that within the near future?
I would hope so.
What habits or disciplines keep you sharp as a leader?
Several things that keep me sharp. Number one, my wife is Serena Williams. And when I say that I'm married to Serena Williams, I often get that look like, Serena Williams. Yes,
Yeah.
My wife's name is Serena. Her last name is Williams. She keeps me sharp. She is amazing. She's very organized and detailed and very caring and compassionate. And then I have two sons. My son Norris is a senior at Clemson University, and my son Noble is a sophomore in high school. They keep me on my toes. And I really work so that I know that I'm always able to provide for them. But something else that keeps me grounded is my upbringing, how my parents raised me, the opportunities that I was given as a student that have transcended into being an adult, and then all the wonderful people I have an opportunity to work with on a daily basis.
Do you have a message to any student who wasn't able to get these opportunities that you had?
Yes. My message to students that may not have had opportunities is to create your own. Create your own opportunities. The things that are positive, the things that are driving you to be a better person, stay focused on those, and you'll achieve greatness. It may not be it may have a different time frame, but if you stay focused on the things that are positive and the things that bring you joy, and couple that with treating people with respect, the trajectory of your life in a positive manner is unstoppable.
How do you handle failure, both for you and your team?
If I fail fast. Like, if there's something that didn't work, it didn't work, and then we're regrouping and assessing what didn't work so that we don't relive that story ever again. And then we move forward. I don't believe in dwelling on things that didn't work for a long period of time. It didn't work. Let's find out why it didn't work. Let's analyze that and let's move forward.
Well, I think I speak for me and my co-host when I say it was wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure
here.
to meet each of you, and thank you for having me.
Sorry, folks, but that's all the time we have for today's show. We'd like to thank Dr. Williams for being here today, and remember you can support our students and the program by catching all of our content on YouTube. Just search Learn TV Lancaster. If you have any comments or suggestions, you can email us at learn.tv@lcsd.k12.sc.us. For Christopher Matulis, I'm Kealan Hughes, and we'll see you next time on Leaders of Lancaster.